Ashaleh, welcome. Chavra, Bezrat Hashem. It's great to see some new faces here. Josh, welcome. This is just so exciting. Hurari, of course, the Hasidic master himself. And thank you guys for coming at such an awkward time. It's actually my fault. I was just out with my brother, and we're just going to get right into it, into Tefillah, and then Yimir Hashem. The Torah that can be turned into Tefillah, we all know that from Rav Nachman and Rav Nassan. So, Bezrat Hashem, the Lekutei Teffilot for tonight, I don't have the Sefer with me, but I was out with my brother a couple of minutes ago, and we're making some l'chaim on the year, right? And I told my brother, look, no matter what happens this year, obviously, we always pray and hope for the good, and obviously, this the Shem Israel is for everyone, not just for my brother. But the bracha is, the Lekutei Teffilot is that we should really get to a point where we believe in ourselves, that we're shining, that we're mamish menorahs. And mamish pointed, and I just showed him that he's a menorah. And we have to do that to ourselves. It's so important, no matter what situation we're in. People are starting school now. Gewalt. People are starting yeshiva, seminary, in the army. That's amazing. Or people are away for the chagim. During these times, things can get rough, right? It's not going to be consistent in terms of timing like we see tonight. But when we feel like we're off the derech, right? We're not in that path of consistency. We're not in our ideal schedule. It doesn't mean we should just continue to leave the path and to drift further and further, but just to understand how capable you are and how much you're shining, how other people need that light as well. Friends, family members, rebbeim, the whole thing. Teachers even on Zoom, right? Maybe keep the cameras on. So Bezrat Hashem, we should all be zocheh to really believe that, and we're transitioning into Sichot around 140. And Nitai obviously knows this already. It's all about having faith in yourself. Rabbi Nachman screams, you must have faith in yourself. By the way, it's very funny how we're learning this piece after the whole Lekutei Teffilot. I don't know. You must have enough faith in God's goodness to believe that you are important to Him. Have faith that you too are precious in God's eyes. So great is God's goodness that each and every person is great and important in His eyes. However, this seems all fluff. This seems like it's too easy. This seems like it's just, like Gaval, like we're precious in Hashem's eyes. Mamish is an avoda. This is a real avoda for ourselves, because when we do mess up, inevitably, what are we thinking then? What are we thinking then? We have to remind ourselves, even when we're on the high, we have to remind ourselves every 15 minutes of the day, We have to remind ourselves, I'm so precious in Hashem's eyes. I matter so much. Imamish wakes me up in the morning believing in me, believing that I could impact the world, I could get better myself. We have to believe those things. It's an avoda. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something you read over once and you're like, Gevalt. I'm giving muster to myself. I have to read this 1,000 times. Being humble does not mean you must put yourself in a state of constricted consciousness. Constantly ask God to bring you to true humility and to have faith in yourself. That's what being humble is at the end of the day, having faith in yourself. Some tzaddikim suffer opposition only because they do not have faith in themselves. So I can't think of any tzaddikim offhand that don't believe in themselves, but if Rabbi Nachman's saying it, we better believe it. So if tzaddikim really don't believe in themselves, then I don't know. We have to try our best. But Bezrat Hashem, I love what Rosh Shlomo Carlebach said about this world and about us and what it really means. Rosh Shlomo says, God created man because he loves stories. The whole world is God telling a story. The deepest depths of closeness to God is when you could tell him your story. This is the deepest cover. This is Mamash's deepest line in the world. But what's so deep about it is that the last line, the deepest depths of closeness to God is when you could tell him your story. It's showing God, I believe in myself. And by believing in myself, I'm showing God what I'm doing in this world and why the world was created for me for this reason. I'm the tikkun. I'm bringing Am Yisrael closer. I'm being b'simcha when maybe the music isn't playing. I'm dancing when maybe the music isn't playing, like we weren't a couple of weeks ago. So I felt like this tied in so perfectly, right? To understand on a macro level, right, that this world was created through Hashem's story, right? It's Hashem telling the story. What we need to do, our avoda, is to show and tell our story to Hashem. And by doing that, it's showing and telling our story through other people, while also telling and showing it to Hashem. But in that way, Hashem could see. And maybe there's a million other reasons, but that's something that just came up in my head. If anyone has questions, comments, please feel free to unmute yourselves.
I also think like a big thing with humility and like being humble is that tomorrow or tonight, as you can say, and if you're in Israel, is Zechav Khan's Yurtzeit, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the 24th of Elul, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but I think it's just like it could be like a sign that's saying like humility, and like the Chavetz Chaim like is known for his humility and not ever looking up because he was super humble. I don't know. So little thing.
No, it's the deepest. That's the deepest. And like, Rabbi Nachman said that, it's unfortunate, but tzaddikim, who are so great, really like didn't believe in themselves, and that was their opposition. But the Chavetz Chaim Mamish believed in himself, it seems like. By believing in himself, he came to true humility. Right? So the more we could believe in ourselves, the more real and authentic our humility may be, the higher it will be. So the Chavetz Chaim is an awesome example of that. Bezrat Hashem. Wow, Josh, unbelievable. Other questions, comments, Maya, Reb Nitai, anything to share, anything to reveal? If not, the screens are just as good.
Connects to what you're saying about humility, to what Rav Kook says about humility. It says it's lashon hineni, to like step up to the plate, just like responsibility. Just like humility, according to his eyes, is exactly what you're saying. Just to know what you're capable of and just to do it.
It's Gaval, based off what you're saying, Itai. I actually heard from a friend today how the Chabban used to say, right, the famous Mekubal in Eretz Yisrael. He said that it's actually gaivadik to not use your abilities, right? And you would think, oh, I'm being humble, right? I'm not showing off. I'm not showing off what I'm capable of. The Chabban says the opposite, meaning where do all of our abilities and qualities come from? It comes from the Ribono Shel Olam, right? So if we know that the qualities and the abilities come from the Ribono Shel Olam, the Ribono Shel Olam wants us to use those qualities and abilities, right? So that's also another, like, I guess that relates to what you're saying, but it's so chazak. It's mamash so chazak. It's just understanding that, like, on a Rav Aaron from Araita, I read like literally like a couple of lines from his book, from one of his books, like hundreds of books, and I came across this little mashal, and he said that there was this Gavaldic painter, right? This unbelievable painter, very low key, very like under the radar, and he paints. He painted every single day, and he was working on a specific painting. And after a couple of weeks, it was like mamish unbelievable. It was like out of this world. It was something that no one has ever seen before. And it was like outside his apartment or store or whatever it was for show. I guess he was selling it. I don't know. And he was standing next to the painting, and people were walking by in the street. And this guy, this painter, was very low key about the fact that he was such a good painter. He wasn't like, right? So people were walking by, and they're like, you painted this picture? And he's like, he didn't know what to say. He knew like it was Hashem who gave him the abilities. He knew Hashem was giving him the talent. So how can he say it was me? Right? Now I'm thinking about that in the story. I have no clue how this connect, but we're just going to have to accept it. We're just going to have to say you never, ever know. Gaval. So more and more people come and they're like, Gaval, you painted this picture? It came, I guess it got to a point where so many people were coming over to him where he literally just let loose and he's like, I painted this picture. It was my abilities. I'm the best painter in the world. Right? And he allowed his ego to take over. So I guess this does connect to the Chabban and what you were saying about Rav Kook. And about what Josh was saying about the Chavetz Chaim is that like, we have so many qualities, but the avoda of being humble is understanding that they're not your qualities, right? You didn't choose to be X. Hashem chose you to be X, right? So, Bezrat Hashem, I don't know how that connected, but it's about Hashem wanted me to say it. If it made sense, it did. If not, we'll try to make it into sense. But anyways, guys, anything else before we conclude? I feel like it was a very chazak night tonight. Very chazak. All right, Bezrat Hashem.
So strong.
So strong. I mean, I just want to tell you guys before we end, you guys mamish give me so much strength, so much courage, so much motivation every single day. Like mamash, like the fact that we're on right now at 11:42. First of all, you guys, I even know you guys were going to come on tonight, but you guys allowed me to send out that link. And now that you guys are on, you're giving me this extra like bonus strength, for the night and for tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem, and hopefully for the rest of the week, going into Shabbos. But Chavra, thank you so much. We all know it's 6 days until Rosh Hashanah, which is wild. 4 until Shabbos. And we have 89 until Hanukkah. So we mamish just have to look forward for these tremendous opportunities. Bezrat Hashem.